Okay, picture this. You've been practicing your cardiac exam for the past few months, and it's the first time you've performed it. And wonderful. You've now seen a patient and you have performed it, you've been practicing. But not only that, this patient has a spectacular or crazy medical condition. One that you only read about in the books but have not seen in real life. And you're excited to go tell the doctor about it and inform them what you found. But you're not sure how you're going to proceed with that. You're not sure how doctors talk between each other about their findings, how they sell the story to each other of what they saw in a patient, and how communication is important in storytelling. So you think to yourself, now I've got to be a storyteller in this. So who's a good storyteller that I can emulate? Is it J.K. Rowling? Is it Charles Dickens? You think to yourself, maybe I have not really talked to doctors before. So this is the first time I'm going to do it. So I need to think to myself, how am I going to do it right? So hello and welcome to Medicinals. My name is Abdullah Dawit, your host. And today we're going to be exploring how you should be telling a story towards other doctors regarding anything. Patients, your day and how your breakfast was, just how to sell a story. So that's the most important bit about this talk today. It's selling the story. Now when you look at a book, you don't go to the shop and just read every single page and think, that's interesting, I'm going to buy this. No, you've already read the book, there's no point in buying it. What you have at the back is a blurb. A little short paragraph that tells you what's in this book, what's so interesting about it, why you should buy it. And you've got to treat presenting your history towards doctors or presenting your findings to doctors in the same way. You've got to pull them in. You've got to grab them with the interests, with the juicy information. So the first thing you should really do is, after you've taken history or you've taken an examination, think to yourself, which bits are the salient features, the important features they would want to know. The ones they'd be looking for to think, this patient really needs this kind of treatment and they may have this kind of diagnosis. So you've got to think to yourself, okay, so it's that. So let me structure it first. So this is, let's say, a 90-year-old lady who came in with XYZ. And here's why XYZs are important. Because I heard this and this and this from the cardiac exam. Or because I saw her breathing really labored, blah, blah, blah. Stuff that is just, they will pop to them. The important stuff that really gets your mind moving. And now you've hooked them. But the blurb is only so much of the story. The whole book itself is quite big. And so are patients. The story of patients are from birth till death. So this is where a structured history comes in. You've got to start off in the same way the medical school has taught you to present a history. Their age, the presenting complaint, history of presenting complaint, and so on and so forth. It has to be structured. Because a story, just like a story has a beginning and a middle and an end, so does a patient's history. Not only is it structured for other people's understanding, but the fact that when you present a story like this towards a doctor in such a structured fashion, it shows that you understand what you're talking about. It shows that you understand the history you've taken. It shows that you're actually competent. Because a lot of people would just look at a face value salient feature and think to themselves, well, I've read about this, it could be this kind of condition, so I'm going to be certain of this condition. But the history will tell you otherwise. The history will point you towards other forms of diagnosis. And this is how you get doctors to take you seriously. To show that you actually understand what you're talking about and you're competent in the tasks that you're given. But my experiences from medical school is they teach you to be very competent. They teach you to ask all the questions, and the history taking, especially for me and many of my peers when we started doing it, it took at least an hour to take a full history. But doctors don't do that. They don't have the luxury of spending an hour on each patient, especially GPs who have 10 minutes on a patient to take a full history. And this is where observation takes place. You have to look at how doctors present their histories. Preferably, as I was talking with one doctor about this the other day, he said the best place to do this in a hospital is to witness a ward round handovers. and inspect the differences between a more junior and a more senior doctor and how they present their history, or which facts they've taken from history. For example, you would have taken a full-on cardiac examination because you don't know what features you want to look for in a specific kind of patient. We'd have also done the same thing with history. But the more you delve into the differences between doctors, the more you realize, the more senior they become, the more pinpoint and more focused a history or examination is. They will skip out certain features because they will know it's not relevant. And even though I've rambled on about how you should take everything completely, well, this is a skill that you develop. And you realize that through just continuous practice, that's what medicine is. Practice, repeating the same thing over and over again, you will realize what you will need to do for certain patients. And what you will need to do extra if you feel a hunch that something is off. And so this is something that you will have to realize, where you will witness doctors do stuff in peculiar ways that you have not been taught, or ways that you don't think should be done, or you have not thought about before. Well, here's my advice to you. Don't look at what they do as a beginning point, but rather as a destination and a learning curve. And so the learning curve of this is see what they do, try to implement it in your own ways, learn from them. This is real life, where doctors are applying their real life knowledge and their real life understanding and skills. So take that in, acquire that knowledge and skills, and adapt it to be your own. And that is how you mature in storytelling. So thank you so much for watching this episode of Medicinals. And I really hope you enjoyed it. And so please leave a like, a subscribe, and a comment about how you felt about this video and what I should do next. And I'll see you on the next episode.